Good evening. This is CTV News for Friday, August 23rd. I'm Janine Samuels.
And I'm Patricia Vallone. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Plans to build a 4 million square foot Amazon distribution center in the Westphalia community have been scrapped. The warehouse was approved by the Prince George's Planning Board last month despite strong opposition from residents. County Executive Angela Alsobrooks announced in a statement that the company would no longer be pursuing the site. While it was widely reported that the warehouse would be a hub for Amazon, the company never officially acknowledged its plan.
Prince George's County man spends several months behind bars after he's falsely accused of smuggling liquid meth into the U.S. Leon Houghton brought his favorite honey back to the States after he was vacationing in Jamaica in December. However, U.S. Customs and Border Protection detained Houghton at BWI Marshall Airport after the honey he brought back tested positive for meth. He was arrested and he spent several months in jail for felony drug charges. We spoke with Houghton about how this incident affected him.
It's ruined my life. It's like ruined my life and my children's life. I lose my job. It's that even I come out, we have a cleaning company, I sell out all my equipment and to pay my bills and get myself on track. I sell my work van and all those stuff because it's messed me up. It messed up my life. Yes, and it's shaped me. Even now, right now, it's like, man, it's like I can't even get back on my feet. All my family, I lose my baby mother just through that because I'm struggling.
Now, Houghton was released from jail after a second test confirmed that honey was not meth.
Do you ever receive spam calls or calls from unknown numbers? If so, you're one in an estimated 4.7 billion Americans who received a robocall in July alone. Well, there may be relief in sight. 51 attorneys general and 12 of the country's largest telephone companies are joining forces to combat the spike in spam calls across the nation. Under a new agreement, mobile carriers such as AT&T, Comcast, Sprint, T-Mobile, and Verizon will implement free call blocking technology and deploy a system that would label calls as real or spam. We caught up with a few people in Largo to see if they have received these annoying calls.
Within a week, I'm getting at least 3 a week.
Wow. And then do you know what they're for? Do you listen to them?
I have, because we made a joke about it at work. They're telling us that our Social Security card has been suspended. Our Social Security number. I get some that tell me that they want to give me lower interest rate on a MasterCard. So those are the two that I get frequently. And I get that call every day about the MasterCard.
And we also understand that somebody's making money. They allow them to intrude upon us like that. So I wish they would stop it. Find out who it is and tell them, hey, send me a check too.
What do you do when you get those calls?
So if I don't know a number, if it's not saved in my phone, I don't pick it up. I let it ring, and if I'm interested, I'll call back to see what it's about. Or if I'm not interested, I have an iPhone, I just put it on block right away, spam call.
Now, as you just heard, some people are taking the issue into their own hands, but these new measures will improve the government's ability to find and penalize scammers that continue to dial consumers in record numbers. At this time, there's no deadline by which telecom companies must have the robocall protections in place.
A Montgomery County business owner pleads guilty to conspiracy and fraud charges. 65-year-old Ivan Thrain, who owns 3 construction companies in Montgomery and Prince George's, was accused of charging for work that was never performed. Thrain admitted the acts, which netted him nearly $2 million that occurred between 2015 and 2017. As part of the plea agreement, he must pay restitution to the victims. Thrain faces up to 20 years behind bars when he is sentenced in January.
More than 80 people are indicted in connection with an online scam that stole millions from victims across the United States. Federal prosecutors say fraudsters allegedly used online romance scams along with a scheme that targeted the elderly and companies that unknowingly facilitated illegal transfers of money. Melissa Wright is in the newsroom with more on this story.
Officials say 2 men, both Nigerian-born citizens, were the suspected ringleaders in a scam who, along with several accomplices, stole more than $6 million through fraud and attempted to obtain an additional $40 million more. The Federal Trade Commission is warning people about these scams, and I have a few tips that may help you avoid becoming a victim. The very first tip is to take your time, slow down when you get to know someone you've recently met on the internet. They say to attempt to develop a relationship before sending any money. The second tip is to avoid wiring money or putting money on a gift card. They also ask, once again, to never send cash to someone you've just met recently over the internet. And the third tip is, if you feel like you've been a victim, they ask you to contact your bank as to see if you can set up some sort of a cancellation so that that money is not transferred. The fourth tip, which is a really good one, is to talk to friends and family if you're feeling uneasy or nervous about a transaction. They say that if your intuition is telling you this could be a scam, that you should listen, and that could potentially save you from being scammed out of thousands of dollars. From the newsroom, CTV, Melissa Wright.
Thanks, Melissa. Well, a new study is out telling us what we already know about area traffic. According to the 2019 Urban Mobility Report conducted by the Texas A&M Transportation Institute, motorists in the D.C. region encounter some of the most grueling commutes in the nation. The report found that commuters here spend an average of 102 hours a year in gridlock, making ours the third worst behind Los Angeles and San Francisco. The report indicates it's getting worse. The 102 hours is a 21% increase from 10 years ago and a 54% increase since 1997. The report does offer a solution to the problem. The Institute says the nation needs a mix of more roads, transit, and reducing demand through telework, as well as smarter land use.